All right, welcome to the SnydeReport on this, I guess, chilly October evening. That's why we have fire going back there. My guest tonight is Hammond Mayor Thomas McDermott. Tom, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on, Gary?
Well, you said it looks cozy in here. It is. It is.
It does look cozy in there.
I said once it hits September 1, my wife and kids just do their thing. And, once it hits next Saturday, November 1st, it'll look like a winter wonderland in here.
Hey, by the way, did you change the name? I like the SnydeReport. I like that. It's catchy.
Yeah, we did change it.
It makes a lot of sense. I like it.
It takes a while for some people to catch on, but
That was I think it's pretty creative what you came up with.
so yeah,
It's funny. On my podcast, we started off as Left of Center podcast, and then it turned into Lock Pod naturally. So yours came about naturally too, and that's always the best type, right?
Oh yeah, and the newsletter we're up over 110,000 daily readers.
That's great, man. Congratulations.
A lot of great sponsors, and then before you know it, we kind of redid Indiana Talks Radio, so it's now SnydeReport Radio. We got some great people on there like Stephanie Miller and John Fugelsang and Tom Hartman. So that's getting more views than ever, and it's good to be me right now, I guess.
That's good, man. I'm proud of you, man. And I'm happy for you too. It's good to see you doing so well.
Well, well, thank you. I wanted to bring you on tonight because I saw clips of one of your podcasts, and I saw you on Twitter. There was a report that ICE had was trying to use one of the police department's parking lots as a staging area.
True.
And why don't you just tell us what happened?
I'm trying to remember the date, but I know I was lucky enough the night before to have met with my police department because Chicago at the time had a lot of ICE activity. And we were like, hey, it's naive to think that ICE isn't going to be coming through Hammond. So I wanted to make sure that the top brass and myself were all on the same page. So is that your dog?
Yeah.
I love it. So we met, the top brass and I met, and we decided on a course of action on how we were going to deal with ICE in the city of Hammond. And basically we're going to protect them from life or liberty, basically. If somebody's threatening them, the Hammond cops are going to be there to protect them, just like we would protect anybody in the city, right? But we're not really going to participate in what they're doing because none of us really agree with it. The Hammond Police Department's super diverse as well. We all have family and friends that are affected by what's going on right now. So I just don't want any part of it. I understand you're doing your job. That's fine. We're just going to stay out of your way. You stay out of our way. So I wake up the next day. This is about 10 days ago now. And I get reports from the chief of police that ICE is in the parking lot holding like a morning meeting in the Hammond Police Department parking lot. And I was like, what the heck is going on, chief? We just talked about this yesterday. So we all started running over there and basically let the ICE officers know that there's a federal courthouse 2 blocks, not even 2 blocks away, a block and a half away. And we'd appreciate it if they would use that for future locations. And to their credit, they complied. And they haven't tested us since, quite frankly. So I hope that everything went normal that day. I hope that everything continues to go well because it seems like they respected our wishes and they haven't really tested us since then. So, but it was big news at the time.
It was. And when you take a look at what ICE is doing, the mass snatching people, even up to 200 U.S. citizens, and not caring that they're U.S. citizens, how much did that play a part in your decision to do what you did?
We went through the whole Rodney King, Black Lives Matter movement. I was in charge of a police department during that, and it was a tough time. Okay. And we made a conscious effort to reach out to our community, to put ourselves on solid footing with our community so that we could repair the damage that was done during those years. And we've come a long way. The Hammond Police Department has, in the community. We have a great relationship. And I just thought, how many residents drove by that morning and saw ICE in the parking lot of the Hammond Police Department that day, and how much that's going to ruin our relationship? Let me tell you something also, Gary. The Hammond police officers all wear body cams. The Hammond police officers all show their face. And you would think federal officers would at least operate with body cams. They're supposed to be even more sophisticated than us local cops, right?
Right.
Nope. No body cams. No, face coverings. They don't care about constitutional rights of people. They're just like tackling them and, threatening all the citizens that are concerned. It's just not good. I saw I saw a pastor get pepperballed in the head. I'm sure
Oh
you've
yeah,
seen that
I've seen it.
video in Chicago. It's unbelievable. And then he got and then he got sprayed in the face with mace right after. It's a pastor. He was praying for him. It's I don't want any part of it. And we're just staying out of their way. Just leave us out of it. You guys got to do it. We're not going to hinder you. We're not going to be part of it either.
When you take a look at what they're doing, and what they said they were going to do up at the top, we're
Hmm.
going to go after the worst of the worst.
Right.
They seem to be going after landscapers more than they are drug dealers.
The
They
ones
seem to
that
be
they're
going
getting.
after maids more than they are, child molesters or whatever. You, as a leader of a city, if ICE came to you and said, hey, we just want to get these criminals, whether they're already in jail, can we go pick them up?
Hmm.
I know that has to do with the county, or hey, we have these 3 criminals we think are living here.
Hmm.
Can we get your help?
It happens all the time, Gary. DEA,
Mhm.
FBI. Yeah. If the U.S. Marshals. Yeah. We work with our federal partners. And if ICE came to us with a specific bad guy they thought was living in the city, of course, we would help them if we had to. I'd rather they took care of it themselves, but we would be there, especially in the case if it was a criminal.
Mhm.
But like you said, Gary, it's not all, they are getting landscapers. They're getting moms dropping their kids off on the way to school. They're getting, old men that have been in America for decades long, and they're grabbing them and they're deporting them right in front of their kids.
Zip tying kids.
And it's the most frustrating thing is, okay, this isn't the American way. First off, I think we could all agree on that. And secondly, if they really want to fix immigration, don't they have the House, the Senate, and the presidency right now? Then fix it and give these people a path to citizenship. I mean, you guys are in charge right now. This is not the American way. What's going on? Tackling people in the street. But they could fix it right now in Washington, D.C. They can't even agree to keep the government
They
open, though.
control everything. Supreme Court,
Yes, sir.
the House, the Senate, the White House, the governorship here in Indiana, the supermajorities in the Indiana House and Senate, and yet everything is somebody else's fault.
Yeah, it's the Democrats' fault the government shut down and they have all the levers of power on their side. No, it's not the Democrats' fault. We're being snowed over by a propaganda king right now.
Now,
As long as we don't talk about the Epstein files, everything's great. So,
the video out there going, he's in the Epstein files. He's in that is great. Maybe I'll try to maybe see if I can find it and put it on this
okay.
podcast when we do the editing. But
Hey, by the way, last time I was on your show, you and I do this show, and then I get done about a week later. Evan By calls me up and tells me what a great job we did. By the way, you got a lot of people watching your show. I just wanted to point that out.
well,
So,
thank you,
hey,
thank you.
Senator, how's it going? Thanks for watching.
He's great. And his last one, he actually we got him to sing the IU fight song, so kind of appropriate right now.
Yeah, they're
So the
good. They
Hoosiers
are
are
good.
just rolling.
I'm a Notre Dame fan, but
Me
I tell you
too.
what,
Me
I
too.
don't want to cross IU until we're well into the playoffs, okay? Because IU
Exactly.
they're legit. So
They are. And,
yeah,
I think last year's team got them fired up. They ran into a buzzsaw at Notre Dame,
yeah.
but
I don't want to see that game this year.
no, that
IU
might be a
looks
little
good.
rough.
Yeah,
Now, the ice thing did not end there with you guys. I saw your, and if I can find the video clip, I'll try to get it in because I'm still playing with the editing.
sure.
But you had a clip that I thought was great, and maybe you mentioned it just a few minutes ago here, that you respect police officers,
I
you
do.
respect the FBI, you respect federal police officers, but ICE and the Border Patrol and what they're doing is a different story. And tell us kind of what you were getting into there and what you guys are doing as a city that's kind of making news when it comes to ordinances in the city of Hammond.
Sure. Well, my entire career I've supported law enforcement. I'm a proud mayor. I work closely with the Hammond Police Department,
You
meet
have to.
regularly.
You have to.
It's the most important part of my job, and we live next to Chicago. Let's make no bones about it. And it's a 10-minute drive from the south side of Chicago to most parts of my city. So we're a big city, although it's only 80,000, but we're a big city police force. And I got great relationships with them, the federal partners. We've always worked well with them. So it's really unusual to take the stance that we're taking in Hammond. And you mentioned that the Hammond City Council sponsored a resolution that supported the move I made and said, ICE is not allowed on city property to do any,
Hmm.
any meetings, any raids, any, coordination, not in our parking lot. And it's easy for us to say that because there's a federal courthouse in Hammond. Go to the federal courthouse. You can do whatever you want at the federal courthouse. Just don't do it on our property. That's all we're saying. People have property rights. Like if ICE comes to your house, Gary, you could say, "Hey, get out. This is my house."
Can you though? I mean, because
I would. I'd test
oh,
it.
I would try, but
Yeah.
when you see what's happening, like you said, 10 minutes from you in Chicago, it's they're rappelling off helicopters. Shit, I
Yeah.
did in the Army.
Hmm.
Not not not
Yeah.
going after someone who didn't show up for their immigration hearing or has an immigration hearing, and you want to get him out of Dodge before he gets to that hearing.
You know, we get rumors over here, or somebody sees ICE operating in Hammond or in East Chicago, and then what happens in our school districts is I have some parts of the city has schools that are 60, 70% Hispanic, and they'll have horrible attendance that day. Hardly anybody shows up because everybody's afraid. You know, people aren't showing up for work. There's a lot of people just hanging out and hiding in their houses now during this whole phase. Maybe how long do they have to do this for? The next 3 years?
And we've
You
had
know?
that. There was a rumor here in Huntington, little old Huntington, that ICE was in town, and I kid you not, all the Mexican restaurants were shut down that day, all of them, and
Sucks.
people were bitching because they couldn't go get their free chips and salsa, and in the
Yeah.
next sentence saying throw them all out.
Right, of course. Yeah, Hammond's 30% Hispanic, 35% Hispanic, one in three. And you know, a- this affects the whole city though. So I mean, what do they expect? What does ICE expect when they come to the region and it's, a very
Mhm.
huge Hispanic presence? What do they expect? To be welcomed with open arms? Of course not. I'm elected by the 80,000 people that live in my city, and it's my job to represent them, and that's what I'm doing right now. And I'm glad the Hammond City Council passed that resolution 9-0.
Mayor,
So you got them.
can you hold through a quick break?
Sure, Gary.
You're listening to the Snide Report. I'm Gary Snyder. We'll be right back.
Fort Wayne's national award-winning Top Haunt to open now through the first weekend of November with Blackout the last weekend, but you will save time and money buying the RSVP timed tickets online. Hysterium.com.
All right, this is the part of the Snide Report where we thank our sponsors, and we have a growing list. So let's start with Robin Winston. Robin has been there when we first sent out our first email, 147 subscribers. We're now over 108,000. So thank you, Robin Winston, and helping us get the podcast going in the right direction. Next up is our good friend, former Congresswoman Jill Long Thompson. Her book, Across the Aisle, Why Bipartisanship Works for America. Get that anywhere you buy your books. Also, former two-term governor, two-term U.S. Senator Evan Bayh. Evan has been a sponsor of the newsletter, now jumps on board with the podcast. Congressman Andre Carson. Congressman Carson has been there from the start. We're glad to have him over here on the newsletter now. He needs your help to win re-election next year. So make sure you support Congressman Carson. Next up, State Representative Cherish Pryor. Cherish has been there from the start on the newsletter, joining us on the podcast now. So is State Senator Greg Taylor. I want to thank Senator Taylor for all of his support through the years. Next, we have a couple of new sponsors. First up is Indiana Citizen. You want to check out their new project, One Heartbeat Away. Do Christian nationalists have an agenda for Indiana? All you have to do is look at the lieutenant governorship, and you can see right away that they do. So thank you, Indiana Citizen. Next up is Jump Laundry. You can visit them at jumplaundry.com. They have home pickup. They do your dry cleaning, wash and fold with, I might add, no judgments, and next day service. So if you're in a crunch for time, You don't want to do your own laundry, get a hold of Jump Laundry at jumplaundry.com or at 317-740-5011, and they will take care of all of your laundry needs.
Washington politicians came to Indiana to get us to cheat and redraw our legislative maps. They want you to spend millions so they can rig the system and silence your voice. Hoosiers play fair. We don't need their meddling. We need our elected officials focusing on what we need most, making our lives better, lowering taxes, and bringing down the cost of energy and groceries. So tell your legislators, don't let Washington insiders rig our elections. Solve real problems and earn our votes.
Welcome back to the Snide Report. I am your host, Gary Snyder. Today we are speaking with Hammond Mayor Thomas McDermott. For all of you guys out there that are thinking about getting a Great Dane puppy, they wreak havoc. That age, I mean, they're puppies, and then there are Great Dane puppies. And this guy is just running loose. When he comes back over here to try to eat my chair, we'll get a shot of him. But his name is Ozzy. He's all black. Yes, see, right now he is trying to get up on the kitchen counter and into the dishes.
That's great.
Our old one who passed away last year could get stuff off the top of the refrigerator. So why have you? I wanted to anything. Well, let me ask you this. Anything else you wanted to cover about ICE and Hammond?
I don't think this is done. I was at the AIM. It's a Association of Indiana Municipalities.
Mm-hmm.
And we were at the conference in French Lick last week. And I'm not on the board of directors. I'm one of the mayor. But during the board of directors meeting, I get about 4 texts from my fellow mayors. And they said that the attorney general was mentioning Hammond in there. And it was all about that resolution. It's like, great. But I don't understand, what Attorney General Rokita thinks that we should do here. I mean, we're elected to represent our population, right? Right, Gary? I got elected by a very diverse city to represent them.
Now he's trying to eat the pumpkin over there.
So anyway, yeah, I don't think it's done yet.
Well, we look forward to seeing what happens because, Todd Rokita, he likes making an ass of himself, and he's
a grandstander.
Does it on a daily basis.
Yeah, hopefully it's done because we're, like I said, man, I've always been super pro law enforcement. I'm representing my city in this case. So
now, while I have you on, if you don't mind, I want to talk to you a little bit about this redistricting thing that may happen.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it directly affects the region.
Oh, for sure.
And I never knew it was the region until I hung out with you a little bit on the campaign trail.
I had to, but yeah, the one of the seats they're targeting is a seat that I ran against the current congressman for. Frank Mervan is the current congressman. Him and I ran against each other in that district, and that district right now comprises Lake, Porter, and part of LaPorte County, and it's it's very compact. It represents the region almost fully. And what they're going to do to it if what we're hearing is true. What I'm hearing, this is Sunday night, Sunday, 26th, and I hear that tomorrow the governor is going to call a special session on redistricting, and they may not have the votes, but I think he wants to put them under pressure by calling them into Indianapolis to vote on this issue.
I think they have the votes. I think it's a done deal. There's a lot of things that you can say MAGA Republicans are good at here in Indiana, but caving under pressure is definitely one of them because, as I was mentioning to you, I was catching hell from MAGA influencers over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And, they're spineless. They know they don't want it. Their constituents don't want it. Polls show they don't want it. But Trump wants it, so they're going to go ahead and do it and make it either a 8-1 or 9-0.
Well, I tell you what they're doing to Frank's seat. They're saying they're cutting Porter and LaPorte and putting it into the 2nd district. And Lake Porter and LaPorte are very similar counties. It makes no sense. And they're taking Lake County and it's going all the way down towards like Kokomo into the rural parts. So like Lake County, I mean, it's clearly intended to dilute the Lake County vote, which is mostly Democratic. And what they're doing to Andre Carson's district in Indianapolis, Andre represents the entire Marion County, basically. That's one seat, and it makes sense, obviously. they're going to cut that into 3 different pieces and jet 3 of those different pieces off to different parts of Indiana.
One of them all the way down to the Ohio River.
Right. And Andre is obviously, that's not like a Marion County. It makes no sense other than some computer says, hey, if we do it this way, we can get all 9 seats instead of 7 of the 9.
Now they talk about, and I've seen this a lot, that they are trying to say that, well, the census was bad in 2020. Well, no, who was president in 2020?
Right. It's hogwash. That's BS.
Then they're trying to say, well, this is what voters want. Well, it's not. But
they also say that the Democrats, have a lot of illegals voting. I'm in the region in a heavily Hispanic area, and I've never heard one single case of that in the region. I've never heard one single case of that. Wouldn't you think this would be a ripe area for that kind of thing to happen? It's a hogwash. The whole thing is just a lie. It's a pretext so that they could do the dirty deed, which is they want to pick their voters instead of the voters picking them.
They're, my son said it best. If they didn't suck so bad, they wouldn't have to do this, because they're basically doing this to try to have extra seats in case it's a close election next year. And
I don't think it's going to be close, Gary. I think they're such monsters. They're going to get a monumental beatdown next year. I really do.
And you had Texas. California is going to vote on it in a couple of weeks. By all indications, that's going to pass. Now, Virginia's calling a special session tomorrow. That's going to be, they're talking about +3 for Democrats there. And, when you go to states that are controlled by one party now, eventually it's just going to be, a complete shutout on one side or the other. And this is I think this is backfiring hugely, as Trump would say. When you look at, Maryland's lining up now, and Colorado, they may end up losing seats just out of what's happening. But hey, they're owning the libs in Indiana because they're taking away our 2 seats, even though they're going to lose 30 next year.
Let's see what happens, though. Okay, if they do cheat, I have a feeling Hoosiers don't like cheaters. That's you and I, Gary. You and I went all over this state, and we talked to tens of thousands of Hoosiers, and I don't think Hoosiers stand for cheaters. I don't think they do. I think Hoosiers are very fair people, and they don't like this whole thing. I think Mitch Daniels was right. If you read Mitch Daniels' op-ed, I think he's dead right. He is warning the Republican Party what they're about to do is very dangerous and it's going to backfire. And I agree with Mitch Daniels.
We're getting a good look at him now.
He's a cutie.
It's very rare that I would agree with Mitch Daniels.
I agree with you.
And I've even read some articles that maybe Pence is also behind, the opposition to this. And you can say what you want about Mitch Daniels or Mike Pence. They are your Reagan conservatives.
That Reagan conservatives are dead in the Republican Party. I know. MAGA has taken over everything.
Trump threw a fit because Canada used Reagan's words.
Right.
Against tariffs, and he literally had a temper tantrum.
What a thin-skinned little weasel.
He is. And so are...
It's so ridiculous. It's like, I get insulted constantly as a mayor. Constantly insulted.
Yep.
And you just have to live with it. You have to have a thick skin, Mr. President. And he gets all bent out of shape over Ronald Reagan's actual words. Oh, how dare you play facts?
Wait till they see what he did on immigration.
Right? Good point.
Who wants to tell him?
Yeah.
Jim Banks would have a cow.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you want to cover tonight before we have you?
I'm glad you called me back, man. It's good to talk to you again. You and I always got along on the campaign trail. I think we see the world. I know. Well, let's dust them off and get going again.
I want to stay married. I'm hitting 30 years this year. And,
it's all right.
And I would not hit 31 if I told my wife I was running for Congress or anything again. But we have fun doing this. So
I appreciate it. SnydeReport. I love it.
Thank you.
Keep up the great work. It's
I'm
nice
Gary
talking to you,
Snyder. He is not. He is Hammond Mayor Thomas McDermott. This is the SnydeReport, and we are out.